Welcome back, everyone. This is video 4 of 5-part series on trauma-informed group work using Therapeutic Spiral Model, TSM, led by Dr. Kate Hudgins and Dr. Stephen Durost. This episode delves into nuances of protagonist selection, typical sociometric selection, and specific for this case. Also, you'll observe the full drama enriched by Dr. Kate's and Dr. Stephen's insightful commentary and teaching points throughout the drama. Let's explore this dynamic interaction together.
So one of the important things to know as you start to learn about TSM psychodrama is that there is no audience in TSM. And that's one of the really big differences between classical psychodrama and TSM psychodrama is we're working to have a group brain where everybody can have the role they need to be a simultaneous protagonist and get their work done in whatever role they're given. And that takes some, normalization when people have been doing classical psychodrama or whatever, because they're like, what? You're just bringing in all these outside characters? And it's like, well, clinically, the protagonist is projecting onto the different members of the group, and then they can come back and offer something.
So Mario, we're going to ask you to let the universe select the protagonist. Because the reason we do sociometric choosing, particularly with clients, is so that the one issue is really clear, and then we get clear what that is. But we're all working together, right? And I don't think it's going to matter who's the protagonist. So how do you do this?
Well, sometimes you do it with decks of cards. I don't have a deck of cards. I have lots of different ways to do it with objects, but everybody step back. This is another way to do it because I don't know anybody's birthday here. So if your birthday is on, don't worry about the month, but if the date of your birthday is somewhere between the 1st and the 7th of the month, would you step in? And if you're not the 1st or the 7th, step back a little bit so I can see. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if the month of the year that you were born in is between the 5th, so January, February, March, April. If you're May, June, July, or August, would you take another step in? Okay, there's nobody there. If you are December, will you take a step in? So, ladies and gentlemen, we have our protagonist.
The sociometrically choosing a protagonist has been around since the early work on TSM in 1992. And part of the reason that we established that was as a clinical psychologist, I thought, the director has a lot of power if they choose the protagonist or they ask somebody to volunteer. And sometimes that might be transference, oh, where's the vulnerable person in the group that will cathartic well and, will make me look good. It's not conscious, of course, but it's still there. And so because we're working with always feeling the group brain, the themes, the affects that all the group is holding, we went for being able to do sociometry so that people have choices. The reason I chose not to do that in this particular group was because we were also deeply in a safe space with each other. Most of the people in the group had known each other for 25 years, or at least 10 years. And so Mario offered this, and I like to try new spontaneous things, so I went ahead and chose that.
Yeah, well, a sociometric choice is made because the group has to support the protagonist. They have to support the work. And so by allowing that kind of, where is the energy flowing on the topic that the protagonist is bringing up, or the potential protagonist is bringing up, And can the group support that? If the group can support that, then the work comes back to the group, and we end up with creating an environment in which the simultaneous protagonists can happen, where everybody is getting something from the work that's being done. If the group can't support the work of the protagonists, nothing comes back. And we don't have that kind of ebb and flow, that kind of circle of projection, of identification, and back into the protagonist, coming back and forth in a way that's helpful. So we do the sociometric choice. So the energy is going to the protagonist, but then is actually coming back to the group. And we're creating the environment that really is the TSM trademark environment for simultaneous protagonists. If you want to get more information about Therapeutic Spiral Psychodrama Model, and you could pick up this book on Amazon that Kate and I wrote. Is the most current book on the process. Goes into great detail about everything that you saw, all the steps clearly put out, as well as the theory behind what we did. Experiential therapy from trauma to post-traumatic growth, the Therapeutic Spiral Model Psychodrama.
All right, so Deanna, are you willing?
I'm willing, yeah.
So the next step in a TSM drama is, again, I'm not going to follow you. We're going to work together. Walking beside you. So we make a clinical contract. Where do we want to be at the end of the drama? So we know what's our goal. We can keep the drama focused.
I just want to feel more comfortable in the group. I have a lot of group anxiety at this point, some stuff, so I just want to feel more relaxed in a group setting.
I think we can get there. All right. So first, pick your body double. The person that's going to help you stay in your body, breathe. Even when your anxiety comes up, you feel the group pressure. If they're not trained in it, I can teach them in the moment.
I feel like Sarah needs to be, if she was willing. Yeah.
All right, so right or left?
Oh,
Right, so you do know the body double.
The body double is the first role that we have a protagonist engage with, and that is the role of their healthy, wise body. And the role is to help the protagonist stay grounded and centered and breathing and present, because when our brain is offline, we're not working with the trauma, we're not present to the trauma, or actually could be re-traumatizing. So it's very important that the protagonist is there, that they're balanced between their left and their right brain, and that they're present in their body, so that they're in the open and processing place and can really engage in the drama. And you'll notice through the drama that the body double moves with the protagonist. So when the protagonist's role reverses, the body goes with them and stays in next to the protagonist, where all the other people might switch, stay where they are, or switch into the role of protagonist. The body double stays with the actual protagonist and moves with them, because they're always there focusing on helping the protagonist stay present, stay grounded, stay open in the place of, in the best and most optimum place for their healing and processing.
So if you start speaking, actually now take her hand and walk around the group with your body double, because I'm no longer the intervention. The body double is the intervention. Loud enough for everybody to hear. If she's right, repeat it. If she's wrong, correct it.
And in this drama, I'm the assistant leader. And so I'll be assisting Kate. Kate will be the director. And I will come up and gather information to give to her and support what she's doing.
Make eye contact and breathe.
Ah, there we go.
I can make eye contact. And laugh and see breathe.
Good.
You see me.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. And I have to breathe.
Mhm.
I can breathe. I don't have to. Well,
I can choose to breathe.
I choose to breathe. Yes. I'm making eye contact. I see you. Hello.
Hi.
And let's pick some strengths. To feel comfortable in the group, personal, interpersonal, transpersonal strengths. What's the first one you need?
Well, I know he's assistant directing, but I too feel the ocean is such an important part of my
So
life.
see if you can pick somebody else to be the sea or the ocean.
I feel like he.
All right, yeah, he was swimming in the ocean this morning. Yeah. Okay, so now roll reverse with him. So you come, now body double always goes with the protagonist because we want the protagonist always to stay in the body. Okay, so that's a little difference from classical psychodrama from those who know it. So please pick a scarf.
Good asking for what you need.
All right, so please tell Deanna.
Oh, yeah.
Tell her who you are and how you're here to help her be comfortable in the group.
Go with the flow, in and out, like the waves, like the tides. It's all okay. Just go with the flow, in and out, in and out.
And body double, do the same.
Just keep breathing, keep flowing. It's going to be okay.
But I'm scared. I don't like.
I need you. I need you. For some reason, I need you.
I'm uncomfortable in group.
I am life. So keep breathing.
And I'm uncomfortable in the group somehow. Something, I'm holding something.
Yeah. Trust that it's okay. Keep breathing.
Just trust and keep breathing. You can breathe with me.
Everybody. In. In.
And trust.
In.
And trust. Just feel it and go.
Will you accept the ocean?
I accept the ocean.
Where do you want it to be around you? Hey, and I hear you need some trust. You got the sea, the ocean right behind you?
Actually, it's giving me anxiety, so it maybe not touching, but just around.
All right, yes.
Yeah.
Ready for a swim. Ready for a
Yeah.
swim.
My space.
Yeah, ready for a swim.
Good,
There
trusting.
you go, trusting your body.
Good stating
already.
what I need.
Yeah, so look around, make that eye contact again, and see who's the trust. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so same thing. Roll reverse, put a scarf for trust. A body double goes with. So now you're standing here being Deanna. No, you're Deanna. And you've got the ocean behind you. The sea, the ocean. And you're Deanna's trust. Say, I really need you.
Yes, now I'm the trust.
No, you're
No, I'm
Deanna.
Diana, and I should experience and talk like Diana.
You're saying, yes, I need the trust. Yes, please, I need you.
Please trust. I need you. I don't like this. No control. Help me.
You have grown to trust yourself, but you need
And-
to trust, and you
and-
need to trust others again. You have a lot of trust in yourself, and people have hurt you, but you can trust people.
And you can trust
And you
people.
can trust people.
And try not to say but, because that blocks things. If you say and, it makes the container bigger.
People are trustworthy.
Not everyone.
Not everyone.
I'm afraid. I don't want to. I don't want to.
There's a certain amount of healthy guardedness, but
And,
if you can trust yourself to make the right choices.
okay, reverse rolls. So what's happening in this clip is that the woman with the reddish hair has been chosen for the protagonist, and she's now in role reversal, talking to herself about strengths that she can bring to the drama. So again, we go back to strengths. This is strengths, containment, trauma work, post-traumatic growth. And so that was just installing her strengths
by people coming up and spontaneously offering things. We don't script it. We just ask people to offer it, trusting that their telly with the person will make it a deeper reflection and reverberation or whatever, because it's actually, oh, okay, we are in this together. That was what was happening, the beginning of building up strength in the group, or for the protagonist.
It's okay to be awkward. It's okay to be awkward.
It is okay to be awkward.
And I can still feel my feet and
Have to remember to breathe.
So you might hear my voice in the background there. And what I'm doing as the assistant leader is I'm going around to the group members to see what's happening and with them in reaction and relationship to the drama that's going on. Our concept in TSM is that whatever the protagonist can't hold on to comes off of them and lands on the group member. And so whatever the group member is feeling, resonating with, reacting to, is an important part of the drama. And so I'm, as the assistant leader, going around and finding out what's in the group. I'm going to then bring that over to Kate and say, hey, this is coming up, so-and-so's feeling sad, so-and-so's feeling frustrated, so-and-so's feeling courage, and as Kate is able to, she brings those into the drama so that all the pieces that are percolating there get pulled into the drama. This is where everyone gets to do their work in that simultaneous protagonist work that happens. Everyone in some way or other ends up in the drama. And it's this beautiful kind of dance between the leader and the assistant leader and the team to bring in the whole group.
Breathe, everybody breathe. All right, let's listen to your trust.
So what I'm asking for there is that she's able to feel all of the voices. If you've seen the additional role there's been a body double added, and that's the role that keeps you in your body in a healthy, stabilized way. It's not a cathartic double. It's about like, okay, let me get in my strength zone, my window of tolerance. And so that's we've added the body double. She's role reversed for one strength. We're still looking for if she needs more. And that's just a little moment where I say, okay, what's next?
you are loved. You can be here. Even though other people hurt you, you don't have to hurt yourself. Be here. Trust.
All right. Where do you want your trust?
And somewhere, not too close, but close.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
I still need my space.
That's right.
Okay, so what's just happened there is that the person is being asked to integrate trust, which is being played by the very colorful character person. So there's a body double. That's the person who, when she says, I'm here, and she holds her belly, the body double says, yes, I am here. Yes, I am here. And then there's been an additional strength added, just the man in the blue, I think. Just saying, breathe. And the body double is saying, I can be here. And he's saying, breathe. And so my question as director is, you've gotten enough role reversal with your trust. You know what's kind of going on there. Where do you want to put it in your safety cluster? Because we're creating a safety cluster around the protagonist. Strengths, body double, an extra breather. And some of those roles Stephen brought in spontaneously. And, when he brings me something, we've worked together for so long, as I just trust him to bring it in. When you're working with newer assistant leaders, then it's like, okay, well, come buzz by me and just tell me what you've got in mind. Don't interrupt my directing, but just like pass silently and whisper quickly, and I'll get whatever I need.
So I just wanted to bring to the attention that Kate has done this a number of times during this drama, which is that whatever is happening there, she is also turning to the group and kind of having a reaction or calling for a similar reaction from the group to increase the production value, decrease the sociometry among the group, and bring them into what's happening there. She's done it several times in really subtle ways and in other more direct ways.
Walk around with these two strengths in your body double. because somebody has offered
Openness
openness
and discernment.
and discernment. Who's openness and who's discernment?
So this is a place that you can hear me as the assistant leader. I've offered to Kate openness and discernment, that those are qualities that have come off the protagonist onto some members of the group. I've told Kate about them, and then she's asking about those, and you see me sitting in the chair listening to one of the group members as to how they're resonating, and Kate's thinking about how she can bring the qualities of openness and discernment into the drama. And these are all very spontaneous things that are coming up from the group, which makes this different than classical psychodrama. I kind of reckon it to be more like psychodrama improvisation or improvised psychodrama, in that it's always evolving every moment by what's being brought in and put out and brought in again. In very exciting way of doing the work, but also very clinically astute.
The reason when Stephen brings in discernment from the assistant leader role, we just don't force it on the protagonist because it may not fit. So I role reversed her into discernment and had the new character that had come in be part of the protagonist cluster, so she could see if discernment was really something she wanted. And in fact, she did. She did that with both discernment and openness. And that came from the good projections. We often think, oh, projections are negative. Well, no, there's good projections going out in a group too that's healing. It's doing trauma work, and they're actually stable and doing some spontaneous work. And so that's what you saw happening there.
You were creating a protagonist cluster of strengths, the healthy strengths the trauma survivor needs.
I can see if I should trust this person or not. I can see and decide if this is a situation that deserves my trust.
I trust myself that I have good intuition to know whether I can trust them.
You'll see me there in that particular part is I'm bringing in several more offerings from the group of what has gone off in the projections to them. And I've been picking them up, asking the group members where they are, and then as the assistant leader, bring them to Kate, offer them in a clear way, and then she's thinking, how do I integrate? How do I bring these in? When might I call them in? And then I went back and to the group to find out what else was coming up.
Reverse, set now discernment, attach yourself to trust. So both of you, attach yourself to trust.
I got the power to choose who to trust and what to trust. I have trust, and I can choose who I'm trusting, and what situation I'm going to trust, and what I'm not going to trust. And even though discernment is from the head and trust is from my body, I can negotiate those two. And I can say, I trust you, I don't trust you. I got the power of choice.
The power of choice. Let's have a chorus. The power of choice.
You saw I used a standard classical psychodrama technique of creating a chorus. So one of the big things at TSM is we try to get people to a point where they see they have choice about, do they live in the past or do they live in the present and the future? And learning how to be stable enough to see that and not let all the trauma roles come in. And so I also wanted to, I saw Stephen moving around. There were maybe only 3 people that hadn't been integrated at that point, and kind of clustering them together. So I saw his moving around, and I thought, yeah, let's have everybody. Everybody needs to say, as part of their healing, I have choice. And so that was just a moment, again, of kind of like a production technique in some ways, to make the voice bigger, to make the new spontaneous experience labeled more clearly.
So would you like to bring in openness, or what you just said, boundaries? Boundaries. 1 or more people would be boundaries.
These are here.
So, scars. Yeah. This is the protagonist. Come around.
Okay.
So what we see here is that openness was offered by the group, and it didn't quite fit with the protagonist. And so she said, like, actually, I don't know whether she said it or I suggested as a possibility, the opposite of openness would be to have boundaries. So either she or I suggested that word. And then she was immediately like, okay, there, JL, the second JL and his wife, they're coming in to be the boundaries. And you really do get they're a couple, and you really do get a sense with them that like nothing's going to get through them. Like, they're just going to be big protectors and really good things. And that's what you see being brought in. So when she rejected the offer of openness, then the question is like, okay, well, what do you need instead? So it still gives information and builds the protagonist cluster of safety.
So you're the boundaries, first you're going to speak to Deanna.
You have good boundaries. It's okay to trust. You can have boundaries and trust and be open. Boundaries are healthy. They're scary.
Do you want your boundary between your protagonist cluster, or where do you have the boundaries?
Maybe just off to the side, I think. Just kind of around.
Role reverse.
Anytime you need to trust. Yeah. So
Be your boundaries. Work with you.
So you'll notice that I'm doing a lot of background work there where I'm hearing some similar themes among the remaining people who aren't in the protagonist cluster at the moment. And I'm starting to group them. And there was this emerging theme and it started to become very similar. And so I started to bring that group together as another part of the brain, the protagonist brain, that was kind of emerging at that point and offering that to Kate. And, there were times when I have done that and, we never actually get to that piece, but it's serving some purpose for the group members who are there. And then even without the protagonist coming to it, it transforms into something else. So just trust that what is there, make it visible, see if it gets brought into the drama, and know that it's all part of what's happening at any one moment. And it's all working to help everyone in the group. And it's showing what's in the group brain in that moment.
All right, so while you've been rolling up these strengths, yeah, let's get curious.
Where do you want us?
What's been happening while you've been gathering your strengths?
I'm locked in a nice cave. You don't trust me. I'm lost. I am lost. I'm not sure what's happening. I'm in the flow. I feel trust. I have my boundaries. I'm trying to remain present. So I do.
So who is this person in between you and rescuing the ice cream? Who's the person that's hurt you in a group? That's in your way staying.
So at this point, we get to see whether it's fear or whether it's protection of another group that hurt her, which she had shared in her initial becoming protagonist, with is that she wanted group repair in a safe group. So trying to get her to be able to speak about it in a way that makes it concrete, but without exposing people or saying names or anything else. And meanwhile, what I see is that she can't even look at the auxiliary that's standing between her and her full self. So it's just like, okay, we've gone into a defensive zone. And so, how do I help guide out of the defensive zone and find the right amount of self-disclosure that doesn't overexpose her? That was part of the previous trauma. And so, I wanted to make sure I don't do that.
See who shows up.
I mean, it was the psychodrama community to me. So
Pick somebody to be the psychodrama community that hurt you.
Mario, this is no reflection.
I know. You choose the person you trust the most to play the hardest roles.
Descriptive role. This is the reason you don't trust the psychodrama community.
You'll notice at this moment, all the parts of the brain are talking. And, sometimes that seems a bit overwhelming, but as Kate likes to say, our brains are not necessarily kind to us sometimes. And so we're putting into action what's actually happening in the brain, rising that level so the protagonists can move to their strengths and help to work out and see visibly what's happening and then take action on it. But the brain is very noisy sometimes, and we can see that in this particular part of the drama.
I'd appreciate it if you looked at me now.
Okay. Just a minute.
None of us appreciate. Look at me.
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 So Mario, who's in the red shirt, has been chosen to play a community that hurt her. As he's enrolled, she says, "Oh, I'm sorry to give you this role." And he says, you pick the people that you feel safest with to replay the perpetrator role in the drama, because you know they won't hurt you. And so, Mario's being there, he's like, she says, "Look at me," and it's got to be the old community. They're not going to look at you. And, then she got more able to say what she wanted, and then the group joined in and said, "Look at me, look at me." And so she gets empowered as she faces that trauma with all of her new strengths.
I trusted the community to hold space. And I was left very alone. And I felt very hurt and lonely. And I didn't want to be connected anymore.
It's your fault. I hold you responsible. Like, that's not shaming or blaming. I hold you responsible. It's not shaming or blaming.
I hold the way that things were handled responsible. I was very vulnerable
And I want you out of here.
I don't want to let go of this. I want you gone.
Use your body. Push him out of your brain. Push him out of your brain. Out, 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 out.
I'm holding this fear of what happened to me then, and I'm open to something different happening now.
Often seen in a TSM drama when we're dealing with the perpetrator role, the external perpetrators that now have been internalized and live in our heads. We don't even have to be in the process of them anymore, but just to be in our heads. We describe the circle, it's made of scarves, as group brain. And so when the protagonist wants to get rid of the introject that she stood up to this time and said, I don't need to keep this memory. I'm done with you. And then we actually have her physically in slow motion, always in slow motion, slowly push the perpetrator past the scarves. And that's getting her out of her brain. And so that everybody get out, again, everybody needs that experience of get out of there. You're trying to, still rule my brain when, this stuff happened years ago. So just get out of there.
So this is a great moment of what we call interpersonal or interconnected spontaneity. You can see that the protagonist has become spontaneous in her reaction. She's become free. She's moving the stuff out of her brain. And the whole group is following that. Everyone is connected in this moment and adding and saying out and responding from themselves. And so it's just a really neat piece when we see the immersive telly is so rich that the spontaneity is not just the protagonist, but it's the whole group is now spontaneous. A very exciting moment.
Yes, feel this. Feel the space.
Take the time. Feel the space.
Feel the space. And this is the ice cream party that got frozen in that moment of abandonment.
Ina had earlier been identified as being an ice queen part of the protagonist's self, and she'd been, fairly off on the side. Stephen kept checking in with her, see how she was doing, and so now this is a moment when she can choose: does she want to bring that part back to safety? It's again back to choice. What choices do you have? Do you stay with the past? How do you stay in the present? How do you get to the spontaneity of the future? And I would see that was the wounded part of self who had been cared for and had been put in, kept warmed up in the second cluster that Stephen was co-directing as a subscene. And so, again, it's like, which of these parts do you want to take in? You want to unfreeze the Ice Queen? Do you want to be with this part of you that's creative and has held a wounded child and is still creative? Like, that was kind of how we were starting to parse out things at that point.
I feel like I need to be held.
What a nice community. What a new, different community.
She so clearly asks, because she moves into post-traumatic growth, I need to be held. And then there's a comment that this is a safe community to be held in, even though it's the first drama of our 5 days together. She chose to bring people in. The Ice Queen is still a little bit off in the scene, so I'm not sure how much she's integrated that, and it's still part of the observation.
I don't
And
know
look
if I
how
need to
close
should
you
be the
are
role
right
just
now.
yet. So, and I'm comfortable holding the role.
This
Thank
is
you.
now you, and it's you inside the group at the same time. The sign language for vulnerability is you have a firm foundation, 2 legs that wobble, but you have to have the firm foundation to be vulnerable. Otherwise, you just fall.
So in echoing Kate's remark, we're seeing the post-traumatic growth in the protagonist in that she is clearly asking for her needs, wants, and desires and having a corrective experience with a group, which instead of being rejected or moving away from, now she's inviting to come closer. And so she is writing her own new story. And this, of course, is reintegration into society in 3rd stage of trauma recovery. All happening within this moment, within the group immersive telly and the interconnected spontaneity that has created the environment that work can be done in.
All right, so everybody breathe.
Breathe. Take a moment, because we've all been in a community where we have felt and accepted. And take whatever part of that is for yourself in this moment. Take the healing in this moment for yourself too.
And so as the AL, also wanting to make sure that everyone was taking that moment for themselves and getting the healing and the movement that they could in their life, drew attention in that moment and said, take what you can for this moment. And that's because from the belief that everyone in the drama is doing their own drama. The person who is playing discernment was also practicing discernment for themselves. And it was the piece that they needed to practice for the time of the drama. And all the other roles were somehow connected to the person playing them themselves. So they were in service to the protagonist, but also there was a part that was for them. And so as in my role as the AL, I wanted to make sure everyone took a moment and really anchored that in their body and brought in what they needed to take away from the drama for themselves.
So is this a good place to stop? Right, so people who are up here have a scarf, please give it to her. Just kind of playback-wise, just give back the scarf. And if you always sit back down after you've given her the... Here we go, got you all dressed up in scarves again,
Go ahead and give her
Deanna.
the scarf. Yeah.
So there's one thing I want to make sure of. Was I the person who abandoned you?
No.
No. Okay. I just needed to make sure. Yeah. Because if I was, I would apologize. So I'm glad I'm not part of that experience.
No.
Not part of this experience. So, thank your body double.
Thank you.
Protect you from the group, right? Okay, so we put a cognitive ending. What do you get? What did you get out of the drama? That's just the beginning of a cognitive ending. But what did you get? Did we meet your goal?
Well, this isn't cognitive, but this is an awareness of, I feel more present.
That's it.
Colors are brighter. So I'm not as associated. I heard somebody say that they were, and I wondered if it was really part of mine.
Yeah, that's what happened. You projected out of the group, and you know, teach all about that. So make eye contact as we make a final round. And Mario is Mario. Acknowledge your trust, your devotion. Jasmine had a role that we'll find later. Your boundaries. Discernment.
Discernment, yes.
Trusting self. Trusting self. Courage. Yeah?
Presence.
Oh, look at that smile. And now? Where do we start the eyes? And your body double. Yeah. Yeah. Israel. All right, sit back down.
TSM, Croatia?
What we did was we created international gathering, people who had studied TSM.
You, me, I, we.
No shame, no blame. No shame, no blame.
It was just the most miraculous experience. We didn't have any drinkers going on in our group, and everybody was still just like high from the love, from the connection. These were people who had been in groups together on Zoom during COVID, had never met each other.
You came here, and this is your first time. That's a sign of great curiosity.
They came from 12 different countries, and we all came together
You have grown to trust yourself.
to just be the love that TSM is.
Just a minute.
None of this I appreciate. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Everyone in the drama is doing their own drama.
And we had a wonderful, wonderful 5 days, and this drama is the beginning of it.
I love
And this little piggy is Mara, and this little piggy is Irina, and this little piggy is Peter, and oh, there's Stephen!